That America is a third world country because of the rest of the world is so far in front of us. I don't know where we have this false narrative that we're like the greatest country in the world, because we are definitely not, guys.
I'm gonna bash America right now, so swipe away if you can't handle it. I'm in the Times Square subway station, and this is just unacceptable.
They told you America was the greatest country on earth. Then they took you to a subway that looks like a war zone. Today we're watching Americans have a full-on reverse culture shock, realizing their world-class cities are just crumbling relics in a country that stopped building the future, while China built it without even breaking a sweat. Let's dive in.
I'm gonna bash America right now, so swipe away if you can't handle it. I'm in the Times Square subway station, and this is just unacceptable.
So you enter in through jail cells, basically. Love the decor. So nice. Oh my god, so loud. Beautiful paintings.
I've absolutely become a public transportation snob, having lived in Shanghai. In the past 2 months, I've been in Singapore, Hong Kong, Osaka, Tokyo, and Shanghai. All of those subway systems are beautiful. This is just silly.
I don't... Just look at how gross this is. Oh my god.
Garbage.
The garbage. And the underpass is okay. Just beautiful garbage lying about everywhere. Some nice murals on the walls. I am just sad.
This city has the most money of any city in the entire world. And this is what the public transportation looks like. Sorry to bash America, guys, but this one we deserve.
And there it is. The moment an American realizes their world-class city has third-world infrastructure. He's been to Shanghai, Singapore, Tokyo, places that actually function in 2025, and suddenly Times Square looks like a dystopian nightmare. And here's the thing. New York City spends about $19.8 billion annually on transit, yet somehow produces that. Meanwhile, China built 26,000 miles of high-speed rail since 2008. America's response? But we run 24/7. Cool story. So does your decline. The MTA is drowning $50+ billion of debt, while Chinese cities are building subway systems that look like they're from the future. But sure, keep telling yourself it's about character. Now let's check out a comment. The top 1% controls 35 to 50% of all income in New York City. They don't use subways. Why would they care? It's not their problem. And there it is, the real reason the subway looks like a war zone. Because the people in power don't use it. The top 1% in New York City takes home up to half the city's income. And they're not squeezing onto a delayed train. They take Ubers, taxis, helicopters to the Hamptons. Their kids go to private schools. Their commutes start with elevators, not turnstiles. So why fix a subway? It's not their problem. But that's not just negligence, it's policy by design. When wealth concentrates at the top, public systems stop being a priority because the elite don't depend on them. Compare that to China. Even top officials ride the same high-speed trains, use the same hospitals, and live in the same cities as everyone else. If the rail breaks down, they feel it too. And in the US, the richer you are, the more you opt out of public life. A subway isn't just a transit, it's a symbol. When the powerful stop using the same systems as the people, progress stops. And in America, they haven't just left the station. They made sure the doors were closed behind them.
That America is a third world country because of the rest of the world is so far in front of us in just about everything that I don't know where we have this false narrative that we're like the greatest country in the world, because we are definitely not, guys. Yeah, I'm sad to go back. There are so many countries out there that are just leaps and bounds in front of us in technology, society, everything. We should probably start spending a lot more money on building our country rather than trying to save everybody else, because we're not that great, guys. I can tell you firsthand, we are not doing great. But yeah, unfortunately, that's all I got to say about that topic for now. But yeah, I think anybody that's, flown to any other major city in the world can kind of speak to that as well.
This dude totally gets it. End quote. We are definitely not the greatest country in the world. Yeah, no kidding. The rest of us have been watching this slow motion collapse for decades. The numbers don't lie. America spends 2.32% of GDP on infrastructure, China 6.7%. While America was busy bombing other countries, China was building the future. Now Americans are shocked that their airports look like Soviet relics and their trains move slower than a Sunday stroll. The American Society of Civil Engineers gives US infrastructure a C- grade. That's barely passing for those keeping score. In China, they're building cities from scratch that make American world-class cities look like abandoned movie sets. Aldo Rain says, exactly. People who never travel outside the USA don't know any better. It's getting obvious that we have fallen behind. And that's the heart of it. If you've never left the US, you might think delayed flights, dirty subways, and $700 train tickets are normal. But travel to any major city in Asia, and the gap hits you like a wall. In Shanghai, the subway is cleaner than your apartment. But in the US, most people haven't seen anything else. And when your entire frame of reference is broken systems, you don't realize you're living in a developed country with developing world infrastructure. One might consider it isolation by design. Limited vacation time, expensive flights, no passport culture, and a media that still treats America as the global gold standard, while the rest of the world quietly passed it. So yeah, the longer people stay inside the bubble, the more they'll believe the myth. But now, the myth is cracking. And comments like this one, they're the sound of people waking up.
China has 26,000 miles of high-speed rail and the US has 0. So I feel like I can pretty much leave it at that. Like, imagine if I could get on high-speed rail to go to the Bay Area or Denver or something, like that would be sick. But I can't. I either have to drive or take like a super slow, super expensive train. It sucks. Also the comment on China's youth unemployment rate. If China's unemployment rate for like 18 and 19-year-olds is high, that's a good thing because people shouldn't be joining the workforce so young like they have to in the US, that they actually get the chance to be young and go to school. Yeah. Anyway, literally considering China went from like a complete peasant state exploited by Western powers to where they are now is pretty incredible.
US has 0 high-speed rail. Technically correct and embarrassing. China, 45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, over 26,000 miles. More than the rest of the world combined. They're adding 2,000 kilometers per year. By 2030, they'll hit 70,000 kilometers, linking nearly every major city. The US, their fastest train, the Acela, averages 83 miles per hour. In China, 217 miles per hour is the standard. California has been trying to build a line since 2008. That's 16 years, $35 billion, and still no service. China built the 1,200-mile Beijing to Shanghai line in 3 years for $30 billion. Faster, cheaper, done. And let's not forget, in 1978, China was poorer than most African nations. Today, it has an $18 trillion economy, built in just one generation. Animal Tale says, the lack of high-speed rail was one of America's largest mistakes, healthcare being the biggest. Now add defunding education, environment, and science, gerrymandering, militarization of police, etc. We're going backwards. Absolutely right. No high-speed rail isn't just a transit failure. It's a symbol of a country choosing decline. Healthcare, worst outcomes, highest cost. Education, underfunded, overpriced. Climate and science, ignored or politicized. And with gerrymandering, police militarization, and crumbling infrastructure, not only is that stagnation, it's backsliding. China may not be perfect, but at least it's building forward. The US is too busy fighting the last war to see the future has already left.
Nobody travels by train anymore. Well, we do in China. Watch me enjoy the business class experience on a Chinese bullet train. I'm heading back to Chongqing today. I'd like to spoil myself with the business class experience. In some Asian countries with expansive high-speed rail networks, riding the train can actually be a more relaxing and luxurious experience than flying. Needless to say, going through security is a much calmer process than at the airport. After that, you grab your number at the reception for business lounge. Inside, there's the usual setup for drinks and snacks. When it's time to board, the staff call your number and personally personally escort you to your seat. I got lucky today. I'm the only passenger with a business class ticket, so I get the entire coach to myself, plus free access to the mini bar. Now I get to enjoy the fully inclined seat and a blanket on top to take a little nap. There's no turbulence, so I get to nap comfortably while traveling at 347 kilometers per hour. To my uneducated American fans, that's 215 miles per hour. Lunch is included in the ticket, and it's served directly by the attendant. Nobody travels by train anymore. Bitch, please.
So this is China casually flexing on the entire Western world, 215 miles per hour, with a reclining seat, personal service, and no turbulence. Meanwhile, Americans are arguing about whether a $98 billion train from nowhere to nowhere in California is worth it. He's literally traveling faster than most American highways allow, while Americans debate whether trains are socialist. This is what happens when a country actually invests in itself instead of spending decades on military adventures. China built the future. America built, we just saw what America built. Okay, time for a comment. If the rest of the world had a system like China's, everybody would be traveling by train. And that's the truth no one wants to admit. If the rest of the world had China's rail system, fast, clean, affordable, on time, everywhere, of course everyone would travel by train. Why fly? Stressful security delays, baggage fees, a 2-hour flight with 5 hours of hassle. China's bullet trains? Seamless, scenic, productive. You work, nap, or just watch the country fly by at 200 plus miles per hour. And it's not just speed, it's access. Over 45,000 kilometers of high-speed rail, connecting cities, not just capitals. Tickets priced so a student can afford them. So no, it's not that nobody travels by train anymore. It's that nowhere else has made trains worth taking. China didn't change human behavior, it changed the choice. And when the train is better than the plane, there's no choice at all. And the Adventures of Miss Pinky says, China's rail system is 100 years ahead of USA trains. 100 years ahead? Honestly, that might be an understatement. China's rail system isn't just faster, it's designed for the 21st century. The US is still running diesel trains on century-old tracks, while China rolls out AI-scheduled 217 mile-per-hour networks like software updates. One country treats trains as essential infrastructure, the other treats them like a museum exhibit. So yeah, in terms of planning, scale, and daily utility, China isn't 100 years ahead because it's magic. It's because it decided to build the future, while the US is still debating whether it exists. So there you have it. Clips that perfectly capture the moment Americans realize they're living in a declining empire with crumbling infrastructure. China spent the last 20 years building the 21st century. America spent it arguing about pronouns and bombing countries that couldn't fight back. Now Americans are shocked that Shanghai looks like the future while New York looks like a post-apocalyptic movie set. The data is brutal. China invests 6.7% of GDP in infrastructure. America manages about 2.32%. China has 26,000 miles of high-speed rail. America has 0. The results speak for themselves. This isn't about politics or ideology, it's about competence. And right now, China is making America look exactly like what these Americans said, a third world country with a Gucci belt. Thanks for watching. Hit subscribe if you enjoyed watching empires realize they're not special anymore. Until next time, bye.